The phone rang at 7 in the morning. I was making breakfast when I saw my son Michael's name light up the screen. My heart jumped a little. He had not called in 3 weeks. Maybe he finally had time to talk to his old mom. Before we proceed, thank you for watching Mama's Voice. Please subscribe and tell us where you are watching from in the comment section. I answered with a smile in my voice. Hello, sweetheart. Mom, listen, I do not have much time. I am getting married tomorrow. Just wanted you to know I took all your money from the bank. About $140,000. Also, I sold your house. The sale went through yesterday. You have 30 days to pack and leave. I have to go now. Bye. The line went dead. I stood there in my kitchen holding the phone. The eggs were burning on the stove, but I could not move. My hand started shaking so hard the phone nearly fell. Did my son just say what I think he said? Did Michael just tell me he stole my entire life savings and sold my house from under me? Then something strange happened. I started laughing. Not a happy laugh. A cold, hard laugh that came from somewhere deep in my chest. Because Michael had no idea what he had actually done. He thought he was so smart, but he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. Let me tell you why. My name is Sarah Bennett and I am 63 years old. I have been through hell and back in this life. I lost my husband Daniel when Michael was only 9 years old. Cancer took him in 6 months. One day we were planning our future. The next day he was gone. I raised Michael by myself. I worked 2 jobs for 15 years. Morning shift as a receptionist at a dental office. Evening shift cleaning offices downtown. On weekends I did alterations and sewing from home. I barely slept 4 hours a night. I ate 1 meal a day so Michael could have 3. I wore the same 5 outfits for years so Michael could have new clothes for school. Every single thing I did was for that boy. Every sacrifice. Every sleepless night. Every missed meal. All for Michael. He grew up smart. Got good grades. Went to college on a partial scholarship. I paid the rest by taking out loans and working extra hours. He graduated with a business degree and got a job at a big company downtown. I was so proud. My baby made it. All those years of struggle finally paid off. But something changed in Michael after college. He became obsessed with money. With success. With looking rich. He started wearing expensive suits. Driving fancy cars he could not afford. Dating women who only cared about his wallet. 2 years ago he met this woman named Vanessa. She was 26. Beautiful face but cold eyes. The first time I met her she walked through my house like she was counting how much everything cost. She barely spoke to me. Just looked around with this expression like my home was not good enough for her. Michael changed around her. He became mean. Impatient. He stopped calling unless he needed something. When he did visit he complained about everything. The neighborhood was too old. My car was embarrassing. My clothes were outdated. Nothing I did was good enough anymore. 6 months ago Michael came to visit. He brought up my finances out of nowhere. Mom, you are getting older. You should let me help manage your money. Make sure everything is organized. Set up online banking. Make it easier for you. Something felt wrong about it, but he was my son. I trusted him. So I gave him access to one of my checking accounts. Just for bills, I told him. That is all. But I guess that was enough for him to do what he did. 2 months after that Vanessa and Michael came over for dinner. Vanessa spent the whole night talking about real estate. Houses in this area are worth so much now, Sarah. Have you thought about selling? You could downsize. Live somewhere smaller. Take the profit. I smiled and said no thank you. This is my home. I am not selling. Michael jumped in fast. Course not, Mom. Vanessa is just making conversation. But I saw the look between them. They were planning something. I just did not know what yet. 3 weeks before the phone call I checked my bank account. I do it every Sunday morning with my coffee. Part of my routine. That Sunday my heart stopped. My savings account showed $800. It should have shown $134,000. That money was everything to me. My husband's life insurance. 20 years of saving. My emergency fund. My security. My future. Everything. Could barely breathe. My hands shook so bad I dropped my phone twice before I could call the bank. The woman on the phone confirmed what I already knew. The money had been transferred out to an account belonging to Michael Bennett. My son robbed me. I sat at my kitchen table and cried for 3 hours straight. Not just because of the money. Because of what it meant. My son looked at everything I sacrificed for him and decided to just take it. Like I was nothing. Like I did not matter. The betrayal cut deeper than anything I ever felt. Deeper than losing Daniel because Daniel did not choose to leave me. Cancer took him. But Michael chose this. Michael looked at his mother and decided she was worth stealing from. That night I barely slept. I kept thinking about little Michael. The boy who used to hug me and say I love you mama. The boy who made me cards on Mother's Day. The boy who cried in my arms when his dad died and said we will be okay mom, we have each other. Where did that boy go? When did he become someone who could steal from his own mother? The next morning I called Michael. He did not answer. Called 5 more times. Nothing. I left messages. Michael, please call me. We need to talk about my bank account. Please call me back. He never did. 2 weeks went by. Nothing. No calls. No text. No explanation. Just silence. Then came that phone call. The one where he told me he was getting married tomorrow, and by the way he stole everything and sold my house. Except here is what Michael did not know. The house he sold was not my house. Let me explain. When Daniel died his parents set up a trust. The Walsh Family Trust. They put our house into that trust to protect me and Michael. The house I live in right now is owned by that trust. I am the trustee but the property is not in my name. Years later I bought a rental property on Oak Street as an investment. That property is in my name. Sarah Bennett. I rent it to a nice couple named the Martinez family. They have lived there for 3 years. They have 2 more years on their lease. Michael must have found the deed to the Oak Street property and thought that was my house. He thought he was selling the house I live in. Making his own mother homeless. Taking everything from me. Instead he sold a rental property that has tenants with a legal lease. He committed fraud. He broke the law. And he had no idea. I should have been devastated but instead I felt something else. Clarity. Cold hard clarity. My son was not who I thought he was. Maybe he never was. And he was about to learn a very hard lesson. I made a plan. First I would report the theft to the police. Second I would contact the bank fraud department. Third I would hire a lawyer. Fourth I would make sure the Martinez family was protected. Fifth I would gather every piece of evidence I had. But I hesitated on one thing. Did I really want my own son to go to prison? Could I do that? Send my baby boy to jail? I thought about it all day. I remembered tucking him in at night. Reading him bedtime stories. Teaching him to ride a bike. Cheering at his soccer games. Helping him with homework. Crying happy tears at his graduation. That little boy was my whole world. I would have died for him. But that little boy was gone. The man who called me this morning was a stranger. A cruel stranger who stole from his mother and laughed about it. I called my friend Margaret. She is a retired attorney. We have been friends for 25 years. Margaret, I need help. Michael stole my savings and fraudulently sold my rental property. She was quiet for a long moment. Sarah, are you absolutely sure? I told her everything. Every detail. She listened without interrupting. When I finished she said something I will never forget. Sarah, you have to prosecute him. This is not just wrong. This is criminal. If you let this go you are teaching him that he can do anything to anyone without consequences. Is that really what you want? But he is my son. And you are his mother. He stole from you anyway. What does that tell you about who he really is? Her words hit me hard. But she was right. Michael made his choice. Now I had to make mine. That afternoon I went to the police station. I brought all my documents. Bank statements. Property deeds. Rental agreements. Everything. The officer who took my report looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, you understand that if we investigate this your son could go to prison. Understand. He committed fraud and theft. Those are crimes. The officer nodded slowly. We will open an investigation. Next I called my bank. They started a fraud investigation immediately. Then I contacted the title company that handled the property sale. They were shocked when I told them about the tenants. Mrs. Bennett, this is very serious. The power of attorney documents your son used appear to be forged. We are freezing all funds immediately and notifying the buyers. They will likely sue him. But he should be sued. That evening Michael called me. I let it ring 3 times before I answered. Mom, what the hell? The bank called me about fraud. What is going on? I kept my voice calm and cold. Michael, you stole $134,000 from me. What did you think would happen? I did not steal anything. Borrowed it. Vanessa and I needed it for the wedding and our future. You do not need that much money anyway. You get Social Security. I stayed silent, letting his words hang in the air. And the house sale was completely legal. I had power of attorney. Michael, I never signed power of attorney papers. Whatever documents you have are forged. Silence on his end. Then he said, yes, you did. Last year when you had that bad flu. I brought them to the hospital. My blood went cold. I had been hospitalized with severe flu last year. I was so sick I barely remembered those days. Fever. The medication. The confusion. Did Michael take advantage of my illness to get me to sign papers I did not understand? Michael, listen very carefully. The house you sold is not the house I live in. It is my rental property. It has tenants. The Martinez family. They have 2 years left on their lease. You just committed fraud against the buyers and against the Martinez family. You are in serious trouble. His voice cracked. What are you talking about? The house on Oak Street is a rental property. You sold a house with tenants without telling the buyers. That is fraud. You will be sued. You might go to prison. He started yelling. This is insane. You are making this up. You are lying. You are trying to ruin my life because you are jealous that I am happy with Vanessa. Hung up. My phone rang again immediately. I turned it off. Over the next few days things moved fast. I met with Margaret to plan my legal strategy. I contacted the Martinez family to explain what happened. They were horrified but grateful I was protecting them. Margaret helped me file everything. Fraud report with the bank. Police report for theft. Complaint with the title company. We built a case that was rock solid. Then Michael and Vanessa showed up at my house. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was working in my garden when I heard the car. They both got out looking angry. Mom, we need to talk. Michael's voice was hard and mean. I stood up slowly, brushed the dirt off my hands. Then talk. Vanessa stepped forward. She was dressed like she was going to a business meeting. Hair perfect. Makeup perfect. Expensive clothes. Sarah, this has gone way too far. Michael made a mistake. He is sorry. But you are blowing this completely out of proportion. He is your son. He stole my life savings. He sold my property illegally. That is not a mistake. That is a crime. Michael moved closer to me. You are going to drop these charges. You are going to tell the bank and the police this was all a misunderstanding. And then we are going to move on like a normal family. I almost laughed. Or what? Or we will make your life hell. Vanessa smiled, but it was not a nice smile. We will tell everyone you have dementia. We will have you declared incompetent. We will put you in a nursing home. We have lawyers too, Sarah. I felt ice in my veins. You are threatening me. In my own home. Michael stepped even closer. He was trying to intimidate me with his size. We are not threatening you. We are explaining reality. You are an old woman living alone. No one will believe you over us. You will look crazy. Like a bitter mother who cannot stand to see her son happy. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. This was not the boy I raised. This was a monster. Get off my property. Both of you. Right now. Mom, do not be stupid. Pulled out my phone. I am calling the police. You have 5 seconds to leave. They left. Vanessa was yelling threats as they got in the car. Michael looked back at me with pure hate in his eyes. After they drove away, I sat on my porch steps. I was shaking. Not from fear. From rage. How dare they come to my home and threaten me? How dare they try to intimidate me? Called Margaret immediately. She told me to file for a restraining order. I did. Over the next few weeks, the legal system started working. The police investigation found that the power of attorney papers were completely fake. The notary seal was forged. The notary listed did not even exist. The title company found the tenants and stopped the sale. The buyers sued Michael for fraud. They wanted their deposit back plus damages. The bank confirmed all the transfers were unauthorized. They started trying to get my money back. Everything was falling into place. But I felt empty inside. This was my son. My baby. How did we get here? Margaret came over one night with wine. We sat on my back porch. You did the right thing, Sarah. You know that, right? Did I? Or did I just destroy my only child? He destroyed himself. You are just holding him accountable. I sipped my wine. Part of me keeps hoping he will really apologize. Actually mean it. Margaret squeezed my hand. Some people only learn through consequences. 3 weeks later, Michael called again. His voice was different. Softer. Almost childlike. Mom, can we please talk? Just you and me. Please. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop. He was already there when I arrived. He looked terrible. Messy hair. Wrinkled clothes. Dark circles under his eyes. Thank you for coming, Mom. We sat down. I ordered coffee but did not touch it. Michael started talking fast. Mom, I have been thinking about everything. About what I did. And I know I was wrong. So wrong. I betrayed you. The one person who sacrificed everything for me. And I repaid you by stealing. I'm so sorry. His eyes filled with tears. They looked real. Vanessa pushed me into it. She wanted the money. She wanted a big wedding. Nice condo. She made me feel like I had to provide all this stuff or she would leave. And I was weak. I listened to her instead of my conscience. I stayed silent, watching him. But I take full responsibility. I am not blaming her. I made the choices. I signed the papers. I transferred the money. I did this. And I am ashamed. He reached for my hand. Pulled back. Mom, I know I do not deserve your forgiveness. But I am begging you. Give me a chance to make this right. I will pay back every penny. I will sell everything I own. Just please drop the criminal charges. Cannot go to prison. It will destroy my life. I studied his face. Was this real? Or just another manipulation? How long will it take you to pay back the money? Maybe 6 months. A year. I need time to sell things and get loans. Michael, the investigation is already happening. You do not have 6 months. Then what do you want? Tell me and I will do it. What I wanted was my son back. The real one. But maybe that person never existed. I want full repayment in 30 days. Every dollar. And I want you to accept whatever legal punishment comes. That is impossible. I cannot get that much money in 30 days. Then you should have thought of that before you stole it. His face changed. The softness disappeared. Replaced by anger. You are really going to do this? Send your own son to prison. You did this to yourself, Michael. Not me. I stood up to leave. He grabbed my arm. Hard. People in the coffee shop stared. Let go of me. He squeezed tighter. You are going to regret this. When I am in prison, remember you chose this. You destroyed your own son. I yanked my arm free. You destroyed yourself. I walked out. My arm hurt where he grabbed me. There would be bruises. More evidence. The trial was set for 3 months later. The prosecutor said we had an overwhelming case. Multiple felony charges. Fraud. Forgery. Michael was looking at 7 to 10 years in prison. 7 to 10 years. My stomach dropped when I heard that. The prosecutor must have seen my face. Mrs. Bennett, I know this is hard. But your son committed serious crimes. He needs to be held accountable. No. I just keep thinking about the little boy I raised. Wondering where I went wrong. You did not go wrong. Sometimes people make bad choices no matter how they were raised. The weeks before trial were torture. Michael and Vanessa started a campaign against me. They told everyone I was senile. That I was lying. That Michael did nothing wrong. Some people believed them. I lost friends. People I knew for years stopped calling. But others stood by me. Margaret, the Martinez family, my neighbor Linda. They knew the truth. The trial started on a cold Monday morning. The courthouse felt huge and scary. I wore a simple navy dress. Margaret sat beside me. Michael sat across the courtroom with Vanessa and his lawyer. He would not look at me. The prosecutor presented the case. Bank records, forged documents, testimony from the title company, expert analysis. The Martinez family testified about their lease. It was overwhelming, undeniable, clear evidence of fraud and theft. Michael's lawyer tried to make me look confused and bitter. But the evidence was too strong. When I took the stand, I told my story. How I raised Michael alone. How I sacrificed everything. How he betrayed me. The defense lawyer tried to make me look bad during cross-examination. Mrs. Bennett, is it not true that you resent Michael marrying Vanessa? Well, I resent Michael stealing my life savings. You have argued about his relationship, have you not? We have talked. But this case is about theft and fraud. Not his relationship. The lawyer kept trying but nothing worked. I had the truth on my side. Then Michael took the stand. His lawyer walked him through his version. How worried he was about me. How I asked for help. How I willingly signed papers. He looked sincere. Almost believable. Then the prosecutor stood up for cross-examination. Michael fell apart. Mr. Bennett, you say your mother asked for help with finances. Can you show any written record of this request? Michael hesitated. It was verbal. The power of attorney papers. When exactly were they notarized? Last September. By a notary who does not exist. Did you forge these documents? Well, the notary must have made a mistake. The prosecutor pulled out phone records. Mr. Bennett, you searched online for how to forge notary seals the week before these papers were signed. Explain that. Michael had no answer. He stammered. His story fell apart piece by piece. The prosecutor continued. The truth is, you saw your mother as an easy target. You exploited her trust. You forged documents. You stole her money. You sold her property illegally. All to fund your wedding. Correct. I was helping her. You were helping yourself at her expense. When closing arguments ended, I felt numb. The jury left to decide. They came back after 5 hours. On the count of grand theft, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of forgery, we find the defendant guilty. Michael's face collapsed. Vanessa started crying loudly. I sat perfectly still. Guilty. The word echoed in my mind. Sentencing was 2 weeks later. Michael was out on bail, but everyone knew what was coming. Prison. During those 2 weeks, Michael called me once. His voice was broken. I'm so sorry. I know it is too late. I know you will never forgive me. But I need you to know I understand now. What I did. How much I hurt you. And I am truly sorry. I was quiet for a long time. Then I spoke. Michael, if you had apologized like this from the beginning, if you had returned the money immediately, if you had shown real remorse instead of threatening me, maybe things would be different. But you did not. You chose to fight me. To intimidate me. You made your choices. Now live with them. Hung up. It was the last time we spoke. Sentencing day came. The courtroom was packed. The Martinez family was there. The buyers who sued. Margaret. Linda. People who supported me. The judge listened to impact statements. I spoke last. Your Honor, I am not here for revenge. I am here for justice. My son stole from me. He betrayed me. But more than that, he showed no real remorse until he was caught. He threatened me. He tried to destroy my reputation. He has never taken real responsibility. Pause. I raised him alone. I gave him everything. And this is how he repaid me. I cannot let that go unpunished. Because if I do, I am telling him he can hurt people without consequences. I will not send that message. The judge nodded. Then Michael's lawyer asked for leniency. Michael stood and cried and apologized. The judge looked at him for a long time. Mr. Bennett, you made calculated choices over many months. You forged documents. You exploited your mother's illness. You committed fraud against multiple people. You showed no remorse until caught. You threatened your mother when she sought justice. The judge paused. You deserve no leniency. The sentence: 9 years in prison. Possibility of parole after 6. Full repayment to me and the buyers. Court cost. The total came to over $260,000. Michael collapsed. The bailiff had to hold him up. As they led him away, he looked at me one last time. His eyes were empty, broken. I looked back steadily. No tears. No words. Nothing left to say. After the sentencing, Margaret drove me home. We sat in silence for a while. Finally she said, "You did the right thing, Sarah." Did I? Or did I just destroy my son to prove a point? You protected yourself. That is not wrong. That is survival. Over the following months I learned what happened to them. Vanessa divorced Michael 2 months into his sentence. She claimed she was a victim too. No one believed her. She moved away. Got a job at a mall. Her friends abandoned her. Michael in prison struggled. He was not built for that world. He got into fights. He battled depression. His parole requests were denied. Meanwhile, my life slowly healed. I got restitution payments every month. Small amounts. It would take forever to get it all back, but it was coming. I started volunteering at a senior center, teaching classes about financial safety, how to protect yourself from family members who might steal from you. Every person I helped felt like redemption. I reconnected with old friends, made new ones, traveled to places I always wanted to see. Scotland, Ireland, New Zealand. On my 64th birthday, Margaret and Linda threw me a party. My house was full of people who truly loved me. I realized something that night. I was not alone. I never was. I had community. I had real friends. I had a life full of meaning. Michael thought taking my money would destroy me. Instead, it showed me how strong I really was. 4 years into his sentence, I got a letter from Michael. It was forwarded through my lawyer. I almost threw it away. But I opened it. The letter was long. Pages of his handwriting. He wrote about prison. How hard it was. How scared he was every day. How he lost everything. Then he wrote about me. "Mom, I understand now what I did to you. It took losing everything to understand what I took from you. Not just money. Your trust. Your safety. Your belief in family. I destroyed all of that for a wedding and things that do not matter. I lie awake thinking about you working 2 jobs. Going without so I could have everything. And I repaid you by stealing from you and trying to make you homeless. I am not asking for forgiveness. I do not deserve it. I just need you to know I finally understand. You were right to prosecute me. I was entitled and greedy and cruel. I hope someday I can become someone better. Someone worthy of what you sacrificed for me. I'm sorry, Mom. Love you. Even if you never want to see me again. Michael." I read it 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in a drawer. I did not respond. Not then. But something in my heart softened just a little. Not enough to forgive. Not enough to forget. But enough to acknowledge that maybe Michael was starting to understand. Now it has been 6 years since Michael went to prison. He is still there. His parole was denied again last year. I receive restitution payments regularly. I have recovered about 45% of what he stole. I live a good life. Full life. Have my house. My friends. My volunteer work. My travels. I have not visited Michael. I have not written back. He writes me twice a year. Birthday and Christmas. Always apologizing. Always taking responsibility. Never asking for anything. Sometimes I think about visiting him. About seeing if prison changed him. But I am not ready. Maybe I never will be. Margaret asked me once if I regret prosecuting him. I thought carefully before answering. Well, I do not regret it. Because if I had let him get away with it, he would have learned nothing. He would have done it again to someone else. Maybe to Vanessa. Maybe to his own future children. I stopped that pattern. As it hurt. Every single day. But I made the right choice for me. chose myself, my safety, my dignity, my future. And choosing myself led to the best years of my life. I am 69 years old now. I have gray hair and wrinkles and arthritis. But I also have self-respect, independence, true friendships, purpose. Michael took my money. He tried to take my home. He betrayed my trust. But he did not break me. He could not. Because I am stronger than he ever knew. Strong enough to raise him alone. Strong enough to work 2 jobs for 15 years. Strong enough to sacrifice everything for his future. And strong enough to hold him accountable when he betrayed me. That strength is my greatest achievement. Not the money. Not the house. Not even raising a son. My strength. My refusal to be a victim. My choice to protect myself even when it hurt. That is what I want people to understand. You are not required to protect people who harm you. Not even family. Especially not family. Love without boundaries is not love. It is enabling. Setting boundaries is not cruel. It is survival. And holding people accountable is not revenge. It is justice. I learned these lessons the hardest way possible. Through betrayal by my own son. But I survived. More than survived. Thrived. And if my story helps even one person recognize the warning signs, if it helps one person set boundaries with toxic family, if it helps one person choose themselves over guilt, then my pain has meaning. Michael is still in prison. Vanessa is working 2 jobs still paying restitution. The Martinez family still lives in my rental house peacefully. Me. I am living my best life. I travel. Volunteer. Garden. I read. I spend time with people who genuinely care about me. I am not wealthy anymore. Legal fees took most of what I recovered. But I am rich in the ways that matter. Rich in friendship. Rich in purpose. Rich in self-respect. Michael tried to take everything from me. But he gave me something unexpected. Clarity. About who people really are. About what matters. About my own strength. He thought he was robbing a weak old woman who would not fight back. Instead, he woke up a warrior who refused to be anyone's victim. Looking back, I understand what went wrong. I loved Michael so completely I forgot to teach him limits. I gave without boundaries. I sacrificed without teaching him the value of what I gave up. I raised someone who felt entitled to take because I never taught him that taking was wrong. That was my mistake. Not prosecuting him. That was right. My mistake was raising him to believe love meant unlimited access to everything I had. But I learned. And he learned. Though his lesson came at a terrible price. I wonder sometimes what will happen when Michael gets out. Will he try to contact me? Will he expect me to help him? I do not know what I will do if that day comes. Part of me wants to help. Wants to believe he changed. Wants to rebuild something. But the stronger part knows that trust is not easily rebuilt. Some betrayals are too deep to fully heal. I will face that decision when it comes. For now I focus on today. On my life. On my healing. Because the truth is, prosecuting Michael was not just about holding him accountable. It was about reclaiming my power. My voice. My right to respect. For so many years I was only Michael's mother. My whole identity was him. When he betrayed me, I had to decide who I was beyond that role. Was I just a mother who would forgive anything? Or was I a person with value who deserved respect? Chose the latter. And that choice changed everything. I found myself again. The person I was before Michael. The person I could have been if I had not sacrificed everything. That person is strong, capable, worthy. And no one can take that away from me. So to anyone watching who sees yourself in my story, anyone betrayed by family, anyone told that love means accepting abuse, I want you to know something important. You are not alone. What happened is not your fault. You deserve better. Do not let guilt trap you in toxic relationships. Do not let family obligations force you to accept abuse. Do not let anyone tell you love means being a doormat. You have the right to protect yourself. You have the right to set boundaries. You have the right to walk away. And if you walk away, you are not bad. You are strong. You are wise. You value yourself enough to demand respect. That is something to be proud of. I am proud of my choices, even though they were hard, even though they cost me my relationship with my son, even though some people judged me. I am proud because I chose myself. Finally, after 63 years of choosing everyone else, that choice gave me a life worth living, a life of dignity and peace. And if my story helps even one person make that same choice, then every bit of pain was worth it. Thank you for staying until the end. Thank you for understanding that sometimes the right choice is the hardest choice. I hope my story gives you strength. I hope it shows you that survival is possible, that healing is real, that life after betrayal can be beautiful. 'Cause it can. I am living proof. At 69 years old, I am happier than I have ever been. More at peace. More confident. More myself. Michael tried to take that from me, but he failed. And his failure is my victory. My triumph. My happy ending. Remember, you are stronger than you know. Braver than you think. Worthy of so much more than you have been accepting. Stand up for yourself. Protect yourself. Choose yourself. You will not regret it. Promise you that. Because choosing yourself is never wrong. It is always right. May you find the courage to make that choice if you need to. May you find the strength to walk away from people who harm you. May you find the peace that comes from valuing yourself. And may you always remember that you matter. You are important. You are worthy of respect and love and dignity. Never forget that. No matter what anyone tells you, no matter how much they try to make you feel guilty, you matter. And that is the truth I wish I knew decades ago. But I know it now. And I live it every single day. That is my story. That is my truth. That is my victory. And it can be yours too if you are brave enough to claim it. The years have taught me so much about human nature. About what people are really capable of when they want something badly enough. Michael was not born cruel. He was not born a thief. But somewhere along the way he learned that taking was easier than earning. That manipulation was faster than honesty. That his mother was an easy target. I think about the signs I missed. Or maybe I did not miss them. Maybe I just refused to see them because acknowledging them would have meant admitting my son was not who I wanted him to be. There were small things over the years. Times when Michael borrowed money and never paid it back. Times when he lied about where he was or what he was doing. Times when he blamed others for his own mistakes. Times when he showed no empathy for people who were struggling. I made excuses for all of it. He is young. He is stressed. He is figuring life out. Everyone makes mistakes. But those were not mistakes. They were patterns. Patterns I refused to see because I loved him too much to believe the truth about him. That is something I have had to forgive myself for. The blindness. The willful ignorance. The desperate hope that my son was better than he actually was. Margaret tells me I should not blame myself. You cannot control who your children become, she says. You can only control how you respond when they show you who they are. She is right. But it still hurts. The wondering. The what ifs. What if I had been stricter? What if I had said no more often? What if I had not sacrificed so much that he learned to take everything for granted? But I cannot change the past. I can only live in the present. And in the present I am okay. More than okay. I am thriving in ways I never imagined possible. My volunteer work at the senior center has become one of the most meaningful parts of my life. I teach a class every Tuesday morning called Protecting Yourself from Financial Abuse. The room is always full. 20 to 30 seniors show up every week to learn how to protect themselves from the very thing that happened to me. I tell them about warning signs. Family members who suddenly take an interest in their finances. People who pressure them to sign documents quickly without reading them carefully. Relatives who isolate them from friends or other family members. Anyone who makes them feel guilty for not sharing their money. I teach them practical steps. Never give anyone full access to all your accounts. Always read documents before signing. Keep copies of everything. Tell a trusted friend about major financial decisions. Check your bank statements regularly. Do not let anyone rush you into choices. But most importantly, I tell them this. You have the right to say no. Even to family. Especially to family. Your money is yours. You earned it. You saved it. You do not owe it to anyone just because you share blood. Every class someone comes up to me afterwards in tears. They tell me about their own situation. A son who keeps borrowing money. A daughter who pressures them to co-sign loans. A grandchild who guilt trips them constantly. A niece who moved in and will not leave. A nephew who stole their credit cards. The stories are heartbreaking. And they are everywhere. Financial abuse of elderly people is an epidemic. And family members are the most common perpetrators. I help these people make plans. I talk through their options. I connect them with lawyers and social workers and counselors. I give them permission to protect themselves, to set boundaries, to say no without guilt. And I watch them transform. From scared and confused to empowered and clear. It is beautiful. It makes everything I went through worth it. Last month, a woman named Patricia came to my class. She was 72 years old. Quiet. Nervous. She sat in the back and barely spoke. After class she waited until everyone else left. Then she approached me with tears streaming down her face. My daughter has been taking money from me for 3 years, she said. I thought I was helping her. She said she needed it for medical bills. For her kids. For emergencies. But I found out she has been using it to gamble. She has taken over $60,000 from me. And when I confronted her, she threatened to keep my grandchildren away from me if I did not give her more. I held Patricia's hand while she cried. Then I told her what she needed to hear. Your daughter is committing a crime. And she is using your grandchildren as hostages. That is abuse. You do not deserve this. And you have the power to stop it. We spent 2 hours making a plan. I connected her with a lawyer. Helped her file a police report. Set her up with a therapist who specializes in family trauma. Coached her on how to set boundaries. It was hard. So hard. Patricia loved her daughter. She loved her grandchildren. The thought of prosecuting her own daughter made her physically sick. But I told her what Margaret told me. If you let this continue, you are not helping your daughter. You are enabling her addiction and her abuse. Real love sometimes means tough consequences. 3 weeks ago Patricia called me. Sarah, I did it. Filed charges. My daughter was arrested. And you know what? My son-in-law called me. He had no idea what she was doing. He is getting her into treatment. And he promised I can still see my grandchildren. I was so scared, but you were right. Setting boundaries saved my family. I cried when I hung up the phone. Happy tears. Because Patricia's story could have been so much worse. But she found the courage to protect herself. And in doing so she may have saved her daughter's life. That is what my pain has become. A tool to help others. A light in their darkness. A voice telling them they matter and they deserve respect. Every person I help feels like Michael's betrayal meant something. Like it was not just senseless cruelty but the beginning of a purpose I never knew I needed. I have also learned to set boundaries in all areas of my life. Not just with Michael. With everyone. I had a friend named Carol who constantly asked me for favors. Drive her to appointments. Lend her money. Help her with projects. It was always one-sided. She never offered to help me. Never paid me back. Never even said thank you most of the time. Before Michael's betrayal I would have just kept saying yes. 'Cause that is what nice people do. That is what good friends do. You help when people need help. But after everything I realized something. Helping people who never help you back is not friendship. It is being used. So I started saying no to Carol. Gently at first. Sorry, I cannot drive you today, I have plans. No, I cannot lend you money right now. She got angry. She accused me of being selfish. Of not caring about her. Of being a bad friend. And you know what I said? You are right, Carol. I am being selfish. I am choosing to take care of myself. And if that makes me a bad friend, then I guess I am a bad friend. She stopped calling after that. And I felt relieved. Not guilty. Relieved. Because I realized I do not need people in my life who only value me for what I can give them. I need people who value me for who I am. That was a hard lesson. But an important one. Now my friendships are different. Reciprocal. Cool. Respectful. Margaret brings me soup when I am sick. I help her with her garden. Linda drives me to appointments. I bake her favorite cookies. We give and take equally. We support each other. We respect each other's boundaries. That is what real friendship looks like. And it is beautiful. I have also learned to spend money on myself without guilt. For so many years, every dollar was about Michael. Saving for his future. Paying for his needs. Denying myself so he could have more. Even after he grew up, I kept that mentality. I lived small. Spent little. Saved everything. Just in case Michael needed something. Just in case there was an emergency. Just in case. And then Michael stole it all anyway. So now I live differently. I still budget. I still save some. But I also spend on things that bring me joy. Last year I took a trip to Ireland. I had always wanted to go. Always said someday. But someday never came because I was always saving for something else. After Michael went to prison, I decided someday was now. I booked the trip. 2 weeks in Ireland. Bed and breakfast. Castle tours. Coastal drives. Everything I ever dreamed of. It was the most magical 2 weeks of my life. The green hills. The friendly people. The history. The music. The food. I felt alive in a way I had not felt in decades. Came home refreshed. Renewed. Grateful. And not once did I feel guilty about spending that money. 'Cause it was my money. Earned it. Saved it. And I deserved to enjoy it. That trip taught me something crucial. Life is short. We are not promised tomorrow. Saving for a future that might never come while denying yourself joy today is not wise. It is sad. So now I take trips. I buy books without checking the price. I go to nice restaurants. Get massages. I buy fresh flowers for my kitchen every week. Are these things necessary? No. But they bring me happiness. And my happiness matters. Michael taught me that the hard way. He stole my security. But in doing so, he freed me from the prison of constant self-denial. I also think a lot about Vanessa, the woman Michael married. Or almost married. I am not sure if the wedding ever actually happened before everything fell apart. Vanessa was not innocent in this. She pushed Michael to steal. She wanted the money for their lifestyle. She participated in threatening me. She was complicit in everything. But I also think she was a victim in her own way. Not of me, but of her own values. Her own emptiness. Vanessa measured her worth by things. By how expensive her wedding was. By how nice her condo was. By how much her ring cost. She had no substance. No depth. No real values. And because of that, she latched onto a man who was willing to do anything for money. Including steal from his own mother. They deserved each other in a way. Two shallow people willing to hurt others to get what they wanted. I heard through the grapevine that Vanessa moved to another state. Changed her name. Tried to reinvent herself. Part of me hopes she learned something. That she grew. That she became a better person. But mostly I do not think about her at all. She is not worth my energy. Michael, on the other hand, I think about him every day. Not in a longing way. Not in a missing him way. But in a processing way. I process the grief of losing my son. Because even though he is still alive, he is gone. The son I thought I had never existed. Or if he did, he disappeared long ago. What I lost was not a person. It was an illusion. The illusion of a loving son. The illusion of a grateful child. The illusion of family loyalty. Those illusions are dead. And I grieve them. But I do not grieve the man in prison. That man is a stranger. I have no relationship with him. No connection. No love. People sometimes ask me if I will ever forgive Michael. They say forgiveness is important for healing. That holding on to anger hurts me more than it hurts him. But I am not holding on to anger. I let that go years ago. Anger was exhausting. Ate at me. Consumed my thoughts. I released it because I needed peace. But forgiveness is different. Forgiveness is not the same as letting go of anger. Forgiveness is about restoring relationship. About trust. About moving forward together. And I will never have that with Michael. Not because I am bitter. But because it is not safe. It is not healthy. It is not wise. Michael showed me exactly who he is. He is someone who will steal from me if given the chance. Who will lie to me without hesitation. Who will threaten me if I stand up for myself. Why would I forgive that? Why would I welcome that back into my life? That would not be forgiveness. That would be foolishness. No. I will not forgive Michael. I will not reconcile with him. I will not have a relationship with him. And I am completely at peace with that decision. Some people cannot accept that. They think I am being cruel, unforgiving, cold. But those people have never been betrayed the way I was betrayed. They have never had their own child look them in the eye and destroy them without remorse. Until you have lived through that, you cannot understand the depth of the wound, the permanence of the damage, the impossibility of true healing while maintaining contact with the person who hurt you. So I smile politely when people tell me I should forgive. And I ignore their advice. Because my healing is not about making other people comfortable. It is about protecting myself. And I will not apologize for that. I have created a beautiful life in the aftermath of betrayal. A life full of meaning and purpose and joy. A life that is entirely my own. I wake up every morning grateful. Grateful for my health. Grateful for my home. Grateful for my friends. Grateful for my freedom. I spend my days doing things that matter. Volunteering, gardening, reading, traveling, connecting with people who add value to my life. I go to bed every night at peace. No anxiety about Michael showing up. No worry about him stealing from me again. No fear about what he might do next. 'Cause he is in prison. And when he gets out, I will have legal protections in place. Restraining orders, changed locks, security systems, whatever it takes. I will never be his victim again. I will never give him the opportunity to hurt me again. That door is closed. Sealed forever. And that is not cruelty. That is wisdom. One of the unexpected gifts of this whole nightmare has been clarity about what really matters in life. Before Michael's betrayal, I was so focused on family, on maintaining relationships, and keeping peace. I bent myself into knots trying to make everyone happy. I sacrificed my own needs to meet everyone else's needs. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I gave when I had nothing left to give. Thought that was love. That was duty. That was what good people do. But I was wrong. That was not love. That was codependency. That was people-pleasing. That was self-destruction disguised as virtue. Real love includes boundaries. Real duty includes self-care. Real goodness includes protecting yourself from harm. I know that now. And it has changed everything about how I live. I no longer try to make everyone happy. I try to make myself happy. And if that disappoints other people, that is their problem, not mine. I no longer sacrifice my needs for others. I take care of myself first. Because I cannot pour from an empty cup. I no longer say yes when I mean no. I speak my truth even when it is uncomfortable. Even when people do not like it. This makes some people uncomfortable. They like the old Sarah. The one who always said yes. The one who never caused problems. The one who put everyone else first. But the old Sarah was miserable. And exhausted. And taken advantage of constantly. The new Sarah is happy. And energized. And respected. I will take the new Sarah any day. My relationship with money has also transformed completely. Money used to represent security to me. The more I had saved, the safer I felt. I hoarded every penny, terrified of ending up poor and alone. But Michael proved that security is an illusion. No amount of money can protect you if someone is determined to take it. Especially if that someone is your own child who you trust completely. So now money represents freedom to me. Freedom to live the life I want. Freedom to say no to people who use me. Freedom to leave situations that harm me. Freedom to enjoy today without constantly worrying about tomorrow. I still save some. I am not reckless. But I am not obsessive either. Have enough. And enough is plenty. This mindset has brought me more peace than any bank balance ever did. Because peace does not come from how much you have. Comes from being content with what you have. And I am content. I am content with my small house that is paid off. I am content with my modest retirement income. I am content with my simple life full of simple pleasures. Michael tried to take my contentment by taking my money. But he failed. Because contentment was never about the money. It was about me. My mindset. My gratitude. My peace. And those things cannot be stolen. As I reflect on these 6 years since Michael's sentencing, I see clearly now what I could not see then. Michael's betrayal was not the worst thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it was traumatic. Yes, it changed me forever. But it also freed me. From guilt. From obligation. From toxic family dynamics. From self-sacrifice. From people-pleasing. From fear. It forced me to choose myself for the first time in my life. And that choice saved me. I am a different person now than I was 6 years ago. Stronger. Clearer. More confident. More authentic. More alive. The old Sarah would never have stood up for herself the way I did. She would have made excuses for Michael. Forgiven him. Let him get away with it. And he would have destroyed her completely. But the new Sarah refused to be destroyed. She fought back. She held him accountable. She protected herself. And she won. Not because Michael went to prison, but because she reclaimed her power. Her voice. Her life. That is the real victory. Not the legal outcome, but the personal transformation. I am grateful for that transformation. Even though it came through fire. Even though it cost me my relationship with my son. Even though it was the hardest thing I ever did. Because on the other side of that fire I found myself. My true self. The self I was always meant to be. Strong. Worthy. Unbreakable. And nobody can ever take that away from me. This is my story. My truth. My testimony. I share it not for sympathy. Not for validation. But to light the way for others who are walking through their own darkness. If you are being abused by family. If you are being taken advantage of. If you are sacrificing yourself into nothing. I want you to know that there is another way. You can say no. You can set boundaries. You can walk away. You can choose yourself. And when you do, the people who truly love you will respect that choice. They will support you. They will stand by you. The people who get angry when you set boundaries are the people who were benefiting from you having none. Let them go. Their anger is not your problem. Your job is not to make other people happy. Your job is to live your life with integrity and dignity and self-respect. Do that. No matter what it costs. No matter who you lose. No matter how hard it gets. Choose yourself. Choose your peace. Choose your freedom. I did. And it saved my life. You can too. And 6 years from now you will look back and thank yourself for having the courage to do what was necessary. Promise you that. Because I am living proof that life after betrayal is not just possible. It is beautiful. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for hearing my truth. Thank you for staying until the very end. May you find the strength to write your own story. May you find the courage to choose yourself. May you find the peace that comes from living authentically. You deserve it. You are worthy of it. And it is waiting for you on the other side of fear. Go claim it.